Have you ever seen this? Inglorious Bastards. Showing results for Inglorious Bastards. And then it asks you, search instead for Inglorious Bastards. Isn't it like the identically the same term? Like, is the results it's showing for, isn't it like identical to the search instead suggestion? Inglor. Oh, right. Inglorious. Oh, you. Do you believe this? 2 hours and 33 minutes. Okay, it's definitely fake, but let's look into it.
Können Sie meinem Sohn zum Geburtstag ein Autogramm geben?
No
Aber
fucking way.
natürlich gerne, Wilhelm. Dieser fesche
No fucking
Oberfeldwebel.
way. There's no way this got past copyright, right?
If you don't think I wouldn't interrogate...
No fucking way, this is on YouTube.
J'ai tué beaucoup d'hommes. Par conséquent, la partie du film projetée maintenant.
How the fuck did he manage to get it on YouTube?
Et c'est parti.
There's no way.
Donc, je me suis dit que j'allais monter et faire ce que je fais le mieux. Vous embêter.
There's no
Et à
fucking
voir la
way.
tête que vous faites, il semblerait que je n'ai pas perdu la main.
C'est tellement habitué à ce que les nazis vous lèchent les bottes que vous avez oublié ce que signifie mon nom. Non,
How the
vous pouvez
heck
pas
is
rester
this on
ici.
YouTube?
Maintenant,
Oh my god. And it's gone. No wait, it's... How the heck is this on YouTube? This... It's almost like a ritual. Like, I have to watch this from time to time. It's so perfect.
Well, if this is it, old boy, I hope you don't mind if I go out speaking to kings.
By all means, Captain.
He sounds so goofy. By all means, Captain. Now, what are the odds of a German officer? I think he's a major, right? Like, the British guy. Oh wait, the American guy. He's Hauptsturmführer, right? So he's captain, I think would be the correct term. And this guy. So here's the thing. Captain, it's a pretty high rank, right? So he's basically like a shark. This German dude, he's like wait, one is Sturmbannführer, the other, anyway, the German dude, he's like a major. So he's like the boss of this dude. So while yes, he is a captain, we could think of him like a shark, right, among German troops. This German guy would be the fucking megalodon. and yes, he's with the SS, so the secret police. So I guess that adds to his terrifying persona as well.
So, Inglorious Bastards is packed with legendary scenes you've probably seen analyzed more than once.
Yes.
But if there's one that blows my mind every time
I fucking love these, they use the character to say things for you. I think the first time I've seen this is with Watch Mojo. Damn, I feel like a fucking dinosaur mentioning Watch Mojo. Do you guys know this channel? Well,
watch it, it's this one. Especially because of how it pulls us into characters we're...
let me think about it. The best scene. I'd say it's the best scene where you don't have Christoph Waltz in it. I think, right? Because this is so fucking perfect. Like, when most movies seem to be like industrial grade minced meat, you know, for burgers, this feels like a bloody fucking steak. It's a perfect cut and so good, so perfect. It's
just meeting around the 50-minute mark of the film, so today I want to dive into what makes this scene so brilliant.
And what would that be?
To put it simply, the whole point of this scene is how a mission that should be a simple, straightforward move, just gathering the team...
First of all, look at this guy on the right. Does he look German to you? Like, he looks very fucking English to me.
turns into a complete disaster. But
that looks painful. And I don't mean like looking painful, like you can almost feel. Look at that, his balls exploded.
Understand why it's so good. Let me give you some context. The scene takes up most of the 4th chapter, titled Operation Kino, which has 5 parts. It starts with the introduction of
Lieutenant Archie Hickox, reporting south.
A former film critic assigned to meet up with the Bastards and Bridget before heading to a premiere organized by the Third Reich.
In Nadine, there's a tavern called La Louisiane. There you'll rendezvous with our double agent. She'll take it from there. She's the one who's going to get you.
Another thing is, we think English as like the main second language for most people, right? Back then, I think French was the main second language. So any, relatively well-educated and cultured German and most Europeans, they would simply have French as their second language. So I think that's one of the reasons why they felt so comfortable in France.
The premiere.
Thing is, as you probably remember, all the top German officials will be there.
That's not Hermann Göring. Oh my fucking god. What the fuck is this? That's not Hermann Göring. He doesn't look like him at all. If you told me this is like the cousin of... Come on, he looks nothing like...
We have all our rotten eggs in one basket.
So the point is...
Also, these Americans sound an awful lot like British people.
Objective of Operation Kino?
Well,
Blow up the basket.
And at this point,
Why are they calling it Operation Kino? Are they toying with the German word? Why wouldn't they call it Operation Cinema?
can't help but notice how those red curtains really connect with the final chapter's...
How did they get the swastikas here? I don't think there's any way they could have filmed this in Germany though. Right? Because the Germans are very, very sensitive about these symbols. The one in the middle, I think it's something Hitler would have despised, because it's the proper Buddhist symbol. The ones on the left and right, they are Nazi symbols. It's the same swastika, but yeah, the ones on the left and the right, there's no excuse you can make, right? They are proper Nazi symbols. The one in the middle is a Buddhist symbol. I think it symbolizes the sun. And it goes even more ancient than that, maybe. Because we saw it in runes and such.
Scene. Maybe it's because this is where we, as viewers, find out about the plan.
Are you familiar with German cinema under the Third Reich?
But the truth is,
Hitler did. especially his propaganda minister, I think Goebbels, right? They both knew the power of propaganda, so they did appreciate and value cinema a lot. I don't think to this extent. Okay, maybe they did. Yeah, that's quite accurate, actually.
The whole chapter plays with the idea of meta cinema, with Tarantino's war heroes as an actress and the only soldier capable of this mission.
Goebbels considers the films he's making to be the beginning of a new era in German cinema.
A film geek, almost as if part of a
Well, production value definitely went up, right? Because they knew how important that was.
Who also happens to love whiskey, which is why his second line after saying his name hints at the element that will decide his fate.
Drink, if you offered me a scotch.
Oh, by the way, who is this amazing guy? Lancelotti. So Lancelot? I guess we should like and subscribe for Sir Lancelotti. 300k subs. That's pretty amazing, yeah. How this scene became a modern masterpiece. It is.
Plain water. I could drink a scotch in plain water.
Because in a film packed with tense, table-centered scenes, the characters' props tell us a lot about
this scene where he gulps down an entire cup of milk. Yeah, this is a dick measuring competition, basically. I fucking died when this farmer guy, this dairy farmer, pulled out his pipe, right? And then Christoph Waltz takes out his own, and it's larger. Like saying, oh, that's a nice 10-inch thing. Here's a 12-inch one. And they're like 5-year-olds.
When Landa orders milk instead of wine, it's like he's toying with his victims.
Probieren Sie den Champagner, Mademoiselle. Der ist wirklich ganz gut.
Later, years on, when Shoshana meets Frederick, the first thing they serve is champagne. It's a way of showing through action that she's welcome at the table. But when...
Yeah, I think that's very realistic, right? Thinking, oh, he's from France. Yeah, she's from France, let's serve her champagne, right? So she feels at home. Maybe she doesn't like champagne, I don't know. Is this racist? Do you think it is racist to assume that? It's definitely like the cousin of a stereotype, right? To assume that. But it's a nice gesture, right? And I think that's the most important thing. It comes from a good place, I think.
Landa later sits with her, he orders...
Et pour la demoiselle, un verre de lait.
And it takes us right back to the first scene. Shoshana is no longer a guest. Now...
I think Christoph Waltz here is like Tom and Jerry, right? In this scene, Tom has Jerry in his paw, right? And he's toying with her. But then we later find out that he just has a hunch. And he can't really remember very well who she is, or who he thinks she is. Well, I think that it's possible he could have forgotten her. It's maybe years have passed, although I doubt it, right? Because Germany didn't occupy France for long, right? They soon lost the war. So it couldn't have been a long time, but it's assumed, right, that some time has passed, and I guess he was also busy hunting Jews elsewhere. So think of it like a barber, right, in a busy barber shop, and so he might have a good memory. He might have a good memory of a client that he wants to remember, but he could easily have forgotten that client. So it's really a 50-50 thing, I think. It's possible he really forgot about her, and just has like a very faint shadow of a memory of her, or and this shadow isn't enough to justify action for Christoph Waltz. So his memory of her is so faded that it doesn't pass the threshold for action for him. Or he does know who she is very well, and he's calculated that given that she has a admirer who's now, you know, about to get filmed as a war hero, that he wants to avoid complications and just basically lets her off the leash, because we can assume from this movie that this character Christoph Waltz is actually a very pragmatic person, right? He doesn't really see Jews as like this. He doesn't hate Jews per se. He's just exterminating or helping exterminating them as a matter of a fact, as part of a mission. So he's definitely not a good guy, but he's also not actively seeking to destroy the Jews. He's literally just saying, well, that's my job and I'm gonna do it. It's like that guy who flew the Enola Gay, or was he named Enola Gay, who detonated the atomic bombs over Japan, right? Like when people ask him, like, do you regret it? Do you have nightmares? He was like, I did what I had to do, and given the same circumstances, you know, I would do the same thing, no questions asked. All I can say is, I guess they found the exact right person to do that job, I guess, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, it was war, right? And I kind of agree with him. I mean, wouldn't you? Because if they actually went with a land invasion, right, they would have many more deaths on both sides. You know, so he basically pulled the trolley to kill a passenger, a random person that, you know, wouldn't have naturally gotten killed by the trolley, but in doing so, he saved many more lives. I wonder if a part of it is just a coping mechanism. Like his brain is like, you know, saying, nope, I'm not gonna spiral into a very, very dark place, so I'm gonna protect myself and just, you know, pretend like I'm totally fine with it. I think there's a small chance that it's a protection mechanism from his psyche.
He's under interrogation.
All I have to do is pick up this phone right here, inform the cinema, and your plan's kaput.
The opposite happens when Landa negotiates with Aldo about ending.
What are the chances of someone like Christoph Waltz in the real world, in Nazi Germany, knowing English this well? I don't think very high, right? It's not very unusual, but it's definitely not likely.
This time with the phone at the center of the frame, representing Landa's power to either end the Allies' plan or strike a deal with the higher-ups.
You end the war.
At first, all the power is with him, and everything significant is in his shot, but as he begins to negotiate, he treats Aldo and Smithson as equals by sharing drinks.
So, gentlemen, let's discuss the prospect of ending the war tonight.
And the item distribution on the table starts to shift.
Get me someone on the other end of that radio with the power of the pen to authorize my, let's call it, the terms of my conditional surrender.
When the balance of power tips toward Aldo, the phone finally appears in his frame. You just need to watch how the scene unfolds to see the gradual power shift. And these directional choices also play out in the bar scene, so let's head over there. The main idea in this scene is that anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
You said it was in a tavern.
It is a tavern.
Yeah, in a basement.
First off, it's in a basement, the worst possible place for a fight. Because even though they say,
You know, we're not looking for trouble right now.
we know things are about to go south. After all, we're watching a Tarantino film, and the second issue was emphasized by this cut.
She wasn't picking a place to fight. She was picking a place isolated and without Germans.
Ich bin männlich. Ich bin
A place without Germans. It's a fucking tavern. They serve beer. Probably. Okay, they do. How the heck could you expect a tavern to be devoid of Germans in a German-occupied territory?
literarische Figur.
Originally, the scene runs half a minute longer in the script, but editor Sally Menke decides to cut it here, probably to emphasize the joke.
Ich bin männlich. Ich bin eine literarische Figur. Ich bin aus Amerika. Aber darüber lässt sich streiten, ja.
The camera starts on a single German soldier, building suspense because you don't know how many more might be there.
Die Nationalität des Autors hat doch nichts mit der Nationalität der Figur zu tun.
The dialogue here is classic Tarantino, one of those long speeches, but if you read between the lines, it's already hinting at the scene's core themes: identity and nationality.
Hamlet ist kein Brite, er war Däne. Also ja, diese Figur ist auf jeden Fall in Amerika geboren.
As the conversation unfolds, we don't see exactly how many Germans there are, but from Bridget's gaze, we can tell there's more than one, at least 3. This slow reveal has more impact than simply showing all the Germans at once, and then Tarantino does this.
Schnaps, 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 Schnaps. 5 Schnaps.
He uses the drink order to reveal that there are 5 soldiers. The genius here is how Tarantino quickly builds a sense of familiarity with the German soldiers in just a few seconds, presenting them as a friend.
That's... Think about it, right? If 5 Germans died in this scene, all of a sudden, it would have the same impact for an American audience as if, someone swatted 5 flies. But to give them humanity, to give them a sense of familiarity, to show the human side of them, all of a sudden they're not flies, they're humans. Complex beings. And now if they die, it has weight.
Group you could easily know yourself.
Heißt beim Blutsbruder euch Shatterhand?
He creates this closeness through the lens, making us feel like we're right at the table, and by giving us close-ups of them. He's not just introducing them, he's individualizing these background characters who, in any other movie...
Could we do something like that? Like infiltrate as spies? I've always imagined, like, what if I was in this situation? I'd say very fucking dead, very quickly. Oh, I could never. Oh my god. The stress alone, the anxiety, right? In such a situation, to pretend like someone you're not, it would require an extreme level of skill and experience in blending in. It would be insane.
Would be a homogeneous group, and as I mentioned before, the production design here tells us a bit about the characters. While the German soldiers sip beer from metal mugs like pawns, Bridget, a movie diva, drinks champagne in a delicate glass goblet, a refined
yes, she's higher class than them.
Drink that evokes status and, being a French beverage, aligns her with the Allied side. Right before the bastards arrive, the bartender briefly crosses the screen with another full glass. A subtle hint that someone else is in the bar, and when you watch it again...
The situational awareness of this YouTuber is astounding. Like, he notices so many things that 99% of the people wouldn't have noticed, even on the second watch, right? Like, who fucking pays attention to that? But it makes perfect sense, right? These are 5 people we've seen. For all we know, that's all the people there are in this bar. And yeah, he's walking over there.
Realize that the drink is actually for Major Hellstrom. On the other hand, one thing to watch throughout the scene is
Hellstrom. I don't think that's a German name, isn't it? It sounds very weird. Hellstrom.
Tarantino uses space. This setting is the opposite of the last one, which was so absurdly big.
Yeah, it looks like a fucking Barbie doll house or something.
It made the characters look like dolls in a huge room, and I think the movie does this on purpose to make the contrast hit harder later, when we're in this confined space, where every element makes it feel even more claustrophobic, with tiny windows barely big enough for a cat. When the bell rings, the bastards show up, and Tarantino sets up this brilliant shot that feels like 2 in 1. It's our first wide look at the place, and it really shows how cramped it is. We only have the table where the soldiers are sitting, and then a sad little table.
I've been to European bars like this. Yeah, they have this like rustic feel to them. But when you actually look closer, it's very clean and very sanitized and very good, you know. Like, it looks like it's a dilapidated, you know, something. But when you look closer, you realize the tables are clean, the floors are clean, the walls are clean, everything is well, you know, everything is well maintained. It's this corporate rustic look, right? It looks rustic, but it's also surgically clean.
Our protagonists have to sit. Like Aldo said,
you know, fighting in the basement offers a lot of difficulties. Number one being, you're fighting in the basement.
It's the worst place for a showdown if things go south. And the staircase makes it even tighter, adding pressure to the composition.
Huh. Yeah, I think people in the military do that, right? Yeah. Because they are supposed to be officers, right? Well, weird thing about the military is, we think of it almost like a meritocracy, right? You fight well, you become a leader of a small squad, and then move up from there. But in actuality, they're like 2 grades, right? Generally, as a soldier, you get promoted, but you never become an officer, I think. Or like a proper officer. For that, you need to start with an officer position. It's like the British princes and such, right? They start off as already officers and such. So...
We keep getting these almost claustrophobic shots. Like this one, it shows the bastards were...
Also, look at their faces. They look like scared children, you know. They're like, "Mommy, what the fuck are they doing?"
Great expressions, but also boxes them in with the wooden columns and the looming German soldier. Plus, it reveals the entrance for the first time. Not interesting because it's an entrance, but because it's the only escape route, and as awkward as a spiral staircase.
Hallo, ihr Lieben.
Setzt euch schon mal.
The point is, this place is basically a death trap.
Like, if I was a German soldier, I would have immediately picked that up and were like, those officers look very, very uncomfortable. You know, that's very unusual.
To really drive the point home, Tarantino follows the characters with this tracking shot. It not only maps out the...
This tracking shot makes us... I'd imagine it's what a little goblin would see if it were creeping behind the counter, you know, following them, going, "Yeah, I'm behind the counter, let me spy on them."
Space, but also makes it feel even tighter. like the camera barely fits. And this cramped vibe is reinforced by the ceiling. The shot also hints at the one part of the room we haven't seen yet, the divided space in the back, highlighted by a bluish.
I didn't notice anything special on watching this movie, but now that he explains it, I almost feel claustrophobic right now. Enrique. He's French, right? Yeah, I mean, given the name. She's speaking German to him. Did he learn German in like a week or so? Don't you fucking tell me that some fucking bartender in France would accidentally speak German. I mean, it's possible, right? Oh yeah, wow, my cousin is from Germany. Oui. That's possible, but very, very unlikely.
And this hidden area is hinted at subtly by the waiter's movement, suggesting he might have served someone, but as he leaves the frame, he reveals a dark, cramped space that invites a bit of speculation. I don't think they necessarily want us to focus on it, but it sets up Colonel Hellstrom's later entrance without feeling like a trick. It's a way of letting us know the clues were there all along.
Wie es aussieht, geht die Runde auf das Fräulein. Was hätten Sie denn gern?
Whisky. 2 Whisky. 3 Whisky.
Was hätten Sie denn gern? He speaks fluent German. That's weird. Oh, right. He's called Eric, right?
Then there's a shot where drinks start to take the spotlight, and it's no minor detail.
Make it yourself like a good
whiskey.
chat, will you? The bars and the glare.
Do you remember the first scene? Here, Tarantino plays with irony by making the character's first action foreshadow his story's end, serving himself a drink from a globe. At the end of the day, he's discovered by ordering a drink with gestures like a Brit, not like a German, basically not knowing the world well enough. And this is a small detail, but you'll see that the magic of this chapter is how it constantly anticipates elements of narrative weight.
He seems like an arrogant prick, you know. From the beginning, I think. Yeah, he seemed like a know-it-all. Also, isn't that awkward to make 3 with your fingers like that? Like, it seems very unnatural. Like, why would you make your fingers do a 3 like that?
Just look at this clip from the scene and the sequence of 3 shots.
Ich wünsche Ihnen noch einen wunderschönen guten Abend. Ich bedanke mich.
After they order their whiskeys, Tarantino gives us 3 shots. First, he focuses on Bridget's shoes, hinting at her class, but also foreshadowing her fate, since that's how Landa will recognize her. Then we get a shot moving from the record player to Bridget, and another from the characters to the 3 glasses of whiskey. I'll go into the record player shot later because it'll make more sense in a few minutes. But what interests me here is the...
Oh yeah, right. This Major Helmstrong, or what his name is, would then later say, "Darf ich mich erkundigen?" And then he puts the record player away, basically saying, "Alright, let's talk business right now."
Shot, which captures the story in a nutshell. The characters are all together for the first time, and the camera focuses on what will seal their fate, the order of 3 whiskeys.
Würde es doch seltsam aussehen, wenn wir gehen würden, ohne etwas getrunken zu haben.
Sie hat recht. Bleib ganz ruhig und genießt euren Whisky.
But isn't it like a bad strategy to get drunk on a mission where you need 100% of your brain power and reaction?
As it goes on, Tarantino keeps breaking the bastard's sense of privacy with little interruptions, like the bartender.
I fucking love this because that's how it is in real life, right? You want to have some peace and calm, and you get interruptions all the fucking time.
Filling drinks.
Komm, spiel mit uns. Nimm drauf und haben Max.
He also throws in some digressions, showing bits of the room and adding small character moments that humanize the German soldiers.
Wenn einer von diesen Wölfen hier aus der Reihe tanzt, dann trimme ich ihn persönlich zurück auf Linie. Schau.
And this is a smart choice because, for a film with such a caricature tone, it shows more nuance than many war movies. And I think the point here is that
it shows so much fucking nuance. Like, compared to this, movies like, well, you know, the other movies, they almost look like fucking cartoons, right? Here's black, and here's white, you know. It feels basically disrespectful, right, to the audience's intelligence to present characters like that. This is why I love Tarantino movies so much, right? I wouldn't say that it's perfect, but he treats his audience as like people with brains, I guess.
these soldiers start as a potential threat, but with these details, Tarantino makes them not only a risk, but also characters you don't want to see die, so the tension goes in.
Yeah, I mean, they seem relatively friendly, right?
Two directions, especially with Wilhelm.
Trinken auf unseren Freund Wilhelm. Und seinen kleinen Sohn Maximilian. Ja. Auf, Max! Auf!
This empathy deepens when we learn they're celebrating because one of them has just become a father. This setup leads to the scene's turning point.
Also lasst euch nichts anmerken.
Try to not overreact. Oh boy. The only thing they do is overreact.
When that new father approaches Bridget's table to ask for an autograph for his son.
Fräulein, sein Name ist Maximilian.
Maximilian, das ist aber ein schöner Name.
Ja.
It's a simple interruption, but anyone who's tried writing a script knows how brilliant it is, because with this one move, Tarantino does a lot at once. First, he adds unpredictability to a situation that was already tense with a drunk guy.
Yeah, so the drunk guy definitely plows through their plans like a fucking truck.
Who makes everyone uncomfortable. Then he increases our sympathy for him, even a bit of tenderness as this guy talks about his kid, which gets us worrying about him. Plus, he has
makes the NPC slaughtering more valuable.
Bridget leave her autograph on a handkerchief, which Tarantino
Yeah, that's basically evidence, isn't it?
emphasizes with a close-up, as this element will be key for Landa to discover she was there.
Was führt sie nach Frankreich?
Das geht sie nichts an.
Okay, very big fucking mistake. I think the best thing he could have done is to make this as boring as possible, you know, very firmly but very gently, you know, make this half-drunk guy know that they want to be left alone, right? Him being so rude actually leaves a very deep impression, right? So, but I think he's half excused because it's very possible he's basically at the breaking point, right? He's already very concerned about this cramped space, and now there's this drunk guy, you know, making everything 10 times more difficult. Yeah, it's very unprofessional from him, but we understand why one would act like that.
Oberfeldwebel.
And finally, most importantly, it forces Highcox to react, and that's exactly...
Oberfeldwebel, so he's a superior field strategist or something, basically an expert giving advice to the commanding officer or something. So I don't think he's actually a combat unit.
But ends up making him slip up. With just this moment, a simple scene jumps forward and becomes something new.
Sie haben vielleicht nicht die Gastfreundschaft des Fräuleins mit ihrem betrunkenen, rüpelhaften Benehmen strapaziert.
Editor
The German does sound odd. Yeah, his German is shit.
Menke sets the tone by cutting the diegetic music from the record player and holding the longest shot of the scene so far at 39 seconds, while previous shots were much quicker.
Oberfeldwebel. Sie sind Soldat. Das ist ein Offizierstisch.
But I love...
That's very terrible, right? Very, very bad charisma here.
About this moment is how Tarantino messes with our expectations. Going into the scene, you'd never think it'd be a slip-up from this cultured, civilized guy that gives them away. You'd expect it.
Well, I mean, he thinks too much of himself. And that makes someone sloppy, because he thinks he's already good enough.
From one of the bastards, and it's kind of ironic that their tragic end boils down to nothing more than bad acting on his part. Yet it's his 26 seconds of talking that give away his accent, which is so unconvincing that even a drunk guy could spot it.
Sturmführer, Sie haben einen sehr ungewöhnlichen Akzent.
The silence makes it feel like the whole bar is tuned into their conversation. At this point, the scene works best as a two-shot, without cutting away to Hicox's reactions, especially with that slight camera shift that guides our eyes to him, almost imperceptible but perfectly timed with his nervous swallow and breath.
Woher kommen Sie?
Sie müssen entweder betrunken sein oder völlig verrückt, dass Sie es wagen, mit einem Vorgesetzten so unverschämt zu sprechen.
And here's where things get interesting.
Ich mache Sie und Sie verantwortlich!
The camera starts on him and pulls back in an unusual dolly move.
They started to slip the moment he became rude. This is when they hit the floor. Because they're causing a huge scene, and oh my god.
Sliding past the soldier's table.
Sie greifen jetzt Ihren Freund, oder wird Max' ersten Geburtstag wegen Trunkenheit in der Öffentlichkeit im Gefängnis verbringen!
But the goal of the movement isn't to emphasize them, it's to reveal a new perspective. The person who's been listening in this whole time.
Trunkenheit in der Öffentlichkeit im Gefängnis verbringen! Dürfte ich mich vielleicht erkundigen?
And that's when we meet once again.
Dürfte ich mich vielleicht erkundigen? That's not a question. I mean, it might be, but this sounds like a teacher who's about to tear a class's ass open. Right? Like, if they fucked up something at a like school trip or something like that. Yeah, that's a teacher who's about to scold a class.
Major Hellstrom. His introduction says it all. He's almost in shadow, lit from below.
And he looks very angry already. So that's not...
in a way that barely illuminates his face, creating an eerie effect. And then there's the pacing. This shot isn't just one of the longest in the scene, but also one of the quietest, with Hellstrom controlling the tempo.
Smoking. Very unhealthy for you. Somehow it's related. Somehow it's associated with badassery, so people do it.
Taking his time with each move.
Movies depict that to make a point. Like, look at his badass. He's destroying his lungs.
In his first appearance, he's a dark silhouette, creating a sense of mystery and unease. As he steps into view, the camera follows, reinforcing his significance and importance. And it even follows him as he removes the record player, using his left arm so we can just catch the armband, subtly lit up. And this is where the importance of that initial shot of the record player, which we
see, that's the thing with Tarantino movies. Every little movement seems calculated. It's there for a reason.
As soon as the bastards arrived, comes into play. It's a casual shot, but if you look closely, it's framed from this exact perspective. Maybe it's a way to immerse us in the scene's soundscape from the start, or perhaps it's a hint that Hellstrom controls both.
Did you hear music? Because I didn't.
The music and the space. Or maybe Tarantino is subtly reminding us that the record player's abrupt stop.
Oberfeldwebel. Sie haben vielleicht nicht die Gastfreundschaft des Fräuleins mit ihrem But
just before Hicox's ill-fated speech is what allowed Hellstrom to overhear him, which I personally think is the most likely. Perhaps it was just a way to play with timing and build suspense, but the shot is fantastic. With Hellstrom tied to this object, the speaker almost feels like an ear tuned to the bastards, as if he's been listening in the whole time.
Wie unser frisch gebackener Vater hier.
From this point on, every movement serves to gradually establish.
His voice is a little bit nasal, but the way he speaks, there's a certain heft to it, isn't there?
Hellstrom's power. Take this shot where we finally see his face, with the composition placing him in a dominant, central position above everyone else. Even the backlighting outlines his figure, giving him even more importance, something Tarantino often does, as in this scene.
He almost has like a fucking halo.
Aber auch ich ein sehr genaues Ohr für Akzente.
I fucking love this. Habe auch ich ein sehr genaues Ohr fürs Akzent. I love how German it sometimes sounds like a fucking industrial machinery, you know. Ka-tung, ka-tung, ka-tung. While English sounds, you know, very gentle, right? Like, think about it, during COVID, right? Oh, yeah, you know, those sweet memories of COVID, right? You'd say, oh, you know, what happened to Jeff? Oh, no, you know, Jeff had to go to the hospital. Oh, no, how terrible, you know. Well, I mean, at least, you know, they were very hospitable, you know, in that hospital. You know how this interaction in German would have sounded like? Was ist denn mit Hans passiert? Oh ja, ist ins Krankenhaus gegangen. Ins Krankenhaus! Like, Krankenhaus, you know? Like, how does that sound versus hospital, you know? Like, compare these two words. Krankenhaus, hospital. And also, hospital, right? It sounds very hospitable, doesn't it? Krankenhaus, literally, krank means sick. And it's not like sick, you know, it's like sick, you're about to die, you know, kind of a sick. And house just means house. So, yeah, the house of the sick, you know, it's a sick house. Yeah. That's German for you.
The opportunity to use a camera move to shift from a wide shot of the Major dominating the room to Hicox's perspective, establishing the action axis for the upcoming confrontation in the scene. And it's really interesting how it shifts from a grand sweeping shot to one that feels almost private between these two characters, with a simple movement. And if Tarantino hasn't given Hellstrom enough power yet...
Woher stammen Sie, Hauptsturmführer?
Sturmbannführer, ich finde es höchst...
Ich habe nicht mit Ihnen gesprochen, Obersturmführer München.
Now he...
With this word, he's basically saying, I know exactly where you're from your accent. He's basically saying, I know stuff much more than you want me to know about you. Have you seen the Riefenstahl film? Asking a German at that time, it would be like asking, have you seen a Tarantino movie? He was that, Riefenstahl was that famous back then.
Gesehen.
Here, Tarantino sets up a familiar scene, a commander interviewing someone hiding a secret so the tension builds naturally.
Sein Bruder sieht wesentlich besser aus als er.
Oh.
The tension eases when our protagonists manage to sell the idea that Hicox was in a film.
Look
What's
at how
interesting
he
here...
smiles. So her smile is a bit awkward but kind of natural. The guy next to her looks like he's in pain. The drunk dude, he's like the fucking he's barely even registering that spy next to him. He's like, ah, fuck.
Is that in all the intellectual duels throughout the movie, we haven't encountered a character like him, which adds more suspense about whether he'll make it out or not.
Meine Herrschaften, darf ich mich zu Ihnen setzen?
Gerne.
Meanwhile, on Hellstrom's side, August Diehl's
How fucking fast are they talking? Meine Herrschaften, darf ich bei euch sitzen? Oh my god. The Germans always talk this fast.
keeps you guessing. You're never quite sure if his character is buying our hero's excuses. And while it's not exactly subtle, there are small power moves.
I think it's not very subtle that he doesn't trust them at all. So I don't think he's actually buying any of their excuses.
Like Hellstrom placing his cap on the table, making Stiglitz move, and sitting exactly where he wants.
Now this gesture would seem odd, right, to people who don't know the costumes. You'd think, oh, it's a bunch of officers, and this guy is just being a dick. But no, he's basically, in terms of rank, basically the boss of all of three of them.
Again, objects play an important role here. Hellstrom's glass is a giant object, constantly present in every frame.
Was tun Sie hier?
Außer mit diesem reizenden Fräulein ein Getränk zu nehmen.
Mirroring his dominant presence in the scene. And here, visual hierarchy is key. It's also a beer, a distinctly German choice, unlike Highcox's whiskey. And unlike the soldiers' metal cups, his is a glass shaped like a boot, a classic military symbol tied to power.
Yeah, we see this very often in Germany. Not just in Germany, but in northern Italy as well. It's actually very common, isn't it? This boot-shaped beer glass. And they have like giant jugs of this, like 2 liters and some shit. Like, it's insane. It's basically a giant Pepsi version of beer.
Once it seems our characters are in a bit less danger,
Königin Christina?
we briefly cut back to the young soldiers. This shot serves to emphasize them one last time before their end, but the interesting part comes when Hellstrom suggests playing the same game they are.
Wie wär's, wir spielen es auch?
Ja, gerne. Ein Spiel.
Look how she's like grabbing his arm. She's like, don't get us killed immediately, please. Don't overreact.
Instead of following him, Tarantino keeps us in tight shots of the characters, making us feel their discomfort.
Yeah, look at her rubbing their noses. I don't think it's purely because of nervousness. It's basically they're giving each other signs to say, this guy means trouble.
Einer berühmten Person auf eine Karte zu schreiben.
Hellstrom then begins explaining the game's rules, which we already know, but I think it's clever that they're playing this particular game.
Und schieben Sie der Person ihrer Rechten zu.
First, as I mentioned
It's a
earlier,
bit too
Tarantino
much on the
constantly
nose,
plays
isn't
with
it?
the idea of meta-cinema. Not only are they people tied to the world of film, but they're also staging a performance on which their lives depend. And they are also
That guy looks like he's not having it at all. He's like, oh, fuck this.
playing this game, which centers around identity.
Begriff machen können. Bin ich Deutscher?
It's no accident.
Bin ich Deutsch? Seriously? First question.
His first question is whether he's German, with a look right at Highcox, bringing the issue back to the surface yet again. It's a game of discovering who is who, and that's what the entire scene is about. That's why, with the next question, Hellstrom also looks at him and asks,
Bin ich Amerikaner?
Nein.
and secondly, it gives us plenty of insight into Hellstrom.
Könnte man mein Geburtsland als exotisch beschreiben?
It's a cool way of showing he's smart, cultured, and above all, has sharp deductive skills.
Geschah die Reise gegen meinen Willen?
Ja.
Auf der Schiffsreise lag ich dein Kett.
On the other hand, one thing I like is how Tarantino uses the background here. Because Wilhelm could be anywhere else, but he places him right beside Hellstrom's face, drawing our eyes there so he's visually present throughout the entire scene.
Also dann muss ich King Kong sein.
Also, during the game, Tarantino switches to a...
He skipped the part right before this where he asked, so am I the story of the N-word in America? And they were like, no. So he's like, oh, alright, so it must be King Kong. Basically underlining that the story of King Kong is potentially a metaphor for slavery.
Shot of the characters, which also includes Bridget, creating a more relaxed atmosphere compared to this.
Also Sturmbannführer, ich fürchte, Sie stören.
Ich bitte Nachsicht, Hauptsturmführer.
Because when things get tense again, he cuts to a two-shot that reinforces the sense of confrontation, reminding us of the one with Wilhelm and Hecox. Except now his body language is no longer as assertive as before. He leans back as if trying to increase the distance, while Hellstrom appears much more relaxed.
Es war ein Scherz. Scherz.
This time Tarantino shifts to even tighter shots to really highlight the discomfort, the closest shots we've seen so far, and this is a pattern throughout the movie, where as tension builds, the shots get tighter.
That farmer guy, like people say he's a great actor, and I agree, but also he looks high as fuck. He looks like he didn't register half the things they were talking about. He seems like, yeah, I've smoked weed every day, man.
Almost preparing us mentally for what's coming.
That was scary. Oh shit. That was scary. The moment he dropped his face like nothing.
Es war ein Scherz. Scherz.
This time Tarantino shifts to even tighter shots to really highlight the discomfort, the closest shots we've seen so far, and this is a pattern throughout the movie, where as tension builds, the shots get tighter, almost preparing us mentally for what's coming. But sometimes nothing happens.
Sur ma vie, impossible de m'en souvenir.
And sometimes it does happen.
They're sheltering enemies of the state, are you not?
Meine Herrschaften, gestatten Sie, dass ich Ihnen nachschenke, und dann werde ich Ihnen und dem Fräulein Adieu sagen.
Anyway, it's a way of underscoring the importance of the drink order that will become crucial.
Erik hat eine Flasche 33 Jahre alten Whisky aus dem schottischen Hochland. Was sagen Sie, meine Herrschaften?
And there's also a bit of ambiguity in the...
Oh, so that's why they call it Scotch whiskey. Because it's from Scotland? Huh. What's whiskey anyway? Isn't that just the malt? Rum? Basically a type of schnapps, isn't it?
Dialogue, because after that passive-aggressive laugh and doubting his origins, Hellstrom suggests Hicox drink scotch, which doesn't provide much comfort for a British officer in disguise pretending to be German, and he even might be thinking that Hellstrom has already figured him out, which could explain his reaction.
Das ist sehr freundlich, Sturmbannführer.
Erik, der 33er!
Sounds like he's about to cry. This is sehr freundlich, Hauptsturmführer.
Next shot, we finally get a wider view, but it's a tight, oppressive frame with the bartender's blurred figure taking up half the screen. This reinforces a sense of confinement and reminds us of the setup, with the exit in the distant background, a way out that will be crucial in just a few seconds.
Ich auch nicht, ich bleib beim Shampoos.
3 Gläser.
And now comes the moment we've all been waiting for.
Look.
Most viewers might not
That fucking death stare. Oh,
catch exactly what the issue is right away, but we know something's wrong because of the way the moment is emphasized.
Oh my god, his face
Once again,
change.
Tarantino uses the foreground, middle ground,
He's
and
like
background,
processing.
and we become fully aware of it.
He's like processing so hard right now. He's halting his facial muscles. Like it's like Windows hanging to process a heavy task.
Importance not only through Hellstrom's gestures, but especially because in such a dialogue-heavy scene, Tarantino gives us 37 seconds of silence. Like,
See, her laugh is like the aunt who doesn't really like you, but acts nice in front of your parent. This guy next to her, I guess he looks neutral right now.
calm before the storm.
1000-jähriges deutsches Reich.
Ein 1000-jähriges Reich!
He's like, auf ein 1000-jähriges Reich, right? Very natural, very normal. This guy jumps in. Like, he's like, you know, you got me. Just pounce already, alright? I'm sick and tired of this pressure.
And it's funny when you watch the scene a second time and start to catch the intentions behind each character's actions, like Hellstrom's toast, a mockery aimed at poor Highcox,
Ein 1000-jähriges Reich!
who falls for it completely.
Ich muss sagen, ich habe genug von dem Affentheater.
That's an actual word they say, even nowadays. So, jetzt habe ich immer genug von diesem Affentheater. So, now I've had enough of this monkey theater. Monkey circus or something.
Haben Sie das gehört?
Here, Tarantino uses the shortest shot of the scene, lasting under
Haben Sie das gehört? Chilling words.
a second to create a visual shock. And then we have the next shot where we see Hellstrom's gun. But instead of aiming where it should, it points in the opposite direction due to a change in camera angle. This may be for visual impact, but it also makes sense when we realize that with this gesture, Hellstrom is sealing his own fate. It's almost like pointing the gun at himself.
Sie sind so deutsch wie dieser Scotch.
After revealing he's onto them, the scene cuts to a shot of the shotgun.
Here's a thing even Germans get wrong a lot of time. Sie sind so deutsch wie dieser Scotch. So deutsch wie dieser Scotch. Sie sind... Oh wait, it's a different thing. It's a different thing. You're as German as the Scotch.
Under the table, giving us a sense that things are about to explode, adding even more tension.
The bartender always has a gun under the counter. And it's not just a gun, it's a fucking shotgun.
Dann sind wir zu zweit. Ich habe eine Pistole auf Ihre Eier gerichtet, seit Sie hier sitzen.
Remember how I mentioned Highcox was initially leaning forward and then became cornered? Well, the same logic applies when he reveals he's had Hellstrom in his sights all along. Now he leans forward and it's Hellstrom who's cornered.
Sie werden aufstehen und mit uns durch diese Tür hinausgehen.
The balance shift.
What's the obsession with balls?
Again when Highcox suggests they'll be leaving, and Hellstrom responds with...
Nein, das glaube ich nicht.
Here, Tarantino plays with the different levels of the shot again. Highcox is in the foreground, Hellstrom in the middle ground, and in the background, but in between of them sits the object of debate.
Ihr zwei. Nirgendwo hingehen. Das ist wirklich schade Oberfeldwebel Wilhelm.
I hope you don't mind if I go out speaking to kings.
By all means, Captain.
And finally, this simple shot that I love. Hellstrom is no longer in the frame. It's just Highcox, in a 20-second shot that serves as his farewell, referencing whiskey as he did in his first line.
There's a special rung in hell reserved for people who waste good scotch.
And just like that, this tense moment explodes in classic Tarantino style.
Your Nazi boss.
I don't remember him cutting so many parts, but yeah, basically he complements the scotch, right? Takes a good whiff, smoke of his cigarette, and then he goes like, well, guess there's only one thing left to do. And then this German guy asks him, and what would that be, Captain? And then this other guy who's holding a gun, pointing a gun from top to bottom at this German guy's balls, he's like, say goodbye to your Nazi balls, and here we are. like, come on. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Finally, we're left alone with Wilhelm, now our protagonist, facing yet another intellectual duel.
I'm a German, you idiot!
But that That's a story.
No fucking way. He also speaks English.
For another video.
Well, thank you, Lancelot. It's been a great pleasure watching your video.